Hi, everybody. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Eri. Like berry, cherry, fairy, Mary. I'm Eri. Got that? I've had lots of people try to guess my name. They're like, "Are you Erie?" Like, no, Eri. Okay. So, a couple other things that you should know about me. I am also a mama of two amazing children, ages 4 and 5. And I'm a wife of an amazing human named Jamin Patel. And, yeah, woo! He's also very hot. And he was supposed to be here tonight, but he's quarantining in Jakarta right now. So, yeah. So I get to talk about us. Don't tell him. And we have gotten to travel the world talking about love and intimacy and relationships and sex and kink and all sorts of juicy things together. And tonight I want to share some of those stories because I have noticed that there is a lot of lack in people's lives around what do? We found a partner. We did that thing. We did that thing that Disney told us we had to do. All we had to do was find our prince or princess charming, and then we ride off into the sunset. And our sunset kind of sucks. And I just want to say that I think it is totally possible for every single person to have long-lasting, hot, spicy, juicy love with themselves and with others. And so tonight I want to talk about some of those things, especially if you are thinking about being a parent or you are a parent, it is still possible. It's just extra work. So I want to share some of our stories. I do also want to share that we've had a lot of different chapters. And so we've shared them on TED Talks. We've shared them the Chicken Soup for the Soul, Miracle of Love. So we have lots of experience together and with learning from other people. And I just want to say that I don't think there's any moo-moo when it comes to relationships. There's not any one-size-fits-all. Instead, there's lots of different types. So whether you are choosing monogamy or polyamory or any type of ethical non-monogamy or whatever your flavor is, that's beautiful. And I want to say that whatever is healthy and consensual for you and the people that you love is welcome. And tonight I want to share some different ways of being in connection and community that will help, hopefully, work for you across all relationship structures. So let me tell you about Jacques and Irena. My husband and I have a weekly date night, and we take turns going on dates. And one night, we went out to this really beautiful restaurant around Ubud, and it was Jamin's turn to be in charge of our date. And we went out, we got this great table, and within about a minute of sitting down, he's like, "I have to go to the bathroom." I was like, "Okay." So he puts my phone on the table, and he gets up to go to the bathroom. And I was like, that was weird. And I get this buzzing on my phone all of a sudden, and I check it out, and there's a text message that says, "It's so good to have you back, Irena, back in the business." I'm like, "You're one of our top-end escorts, and tonight we have a special client for you." I'm like, okay. His name is Jacques, and he's coming in all the way from France. He's specially requested the best. And so, be prepared. He's going to be worth your work, and he pays well. Great. Moments later, the bathroom door opens, and this man who looks remarkably like my husband comes walking out, but a different hairstyle and a different outfit. And for anybody who knows my husband, he is a very sexy Indian man who does not do accents well. But he sits down, Jacques sits down, and in this terrible French accent, he begins pursuing me and asking me all these questions about what it's like, where I come from. And I'm like, I also do bad accents, apparently. So I become Irena, some Eastern European woman, and we begin this beautiful night of conversation where we both just slipped into this role playing and getting to know each other in these mysterious, seductive, dangerous, sexy souls that we were just creating. And it was so fun. And neither one of us gave up. We just kept going with it. And let's just say that Irena was paid very handsomely, and she did a great job. That was over 5 years and 2 children into our relationship. So I think that there's still so much room for mystery and fun. And tonight I want to give you 7 different key ingredients that I think really, really make for long-term hot love. And I want that for all of you. So let me give you those key ingredients, and then I'll tell you how to actually make the recipe. Okay? Everybody in? All right, so here we go. The first ingredient, write this down if you're taking notes. If you know me, you should come with a notepad, a water bottle, and tissues. But I'm not going to make you cry tonight, maybe. We'll see. You can pay extra for that. People are like, you do that? Yes, I do. So the first ingredient is curiosity. Curiosity. We were all born with it. And then somehow we had it beaten out of us or trained out of us. And I want to invite you to go back to being curious. Go back to being a kid. Go back to wondering what else is possible when you stop holding on to the stories that you've held on to so dearly. When we let go of those stories about who we are and who they are and what we are as a couple or as a polycule or whatever you are, when you let that go, there's so much more possible. So step number 1, first ingredient is curiosity. Second ingredient is mystery. Anybody here ever hear of Esther Perel? She's like my role model. I'm going to be her when I grow up. Yeah. She wrote a phenomenal book called The State of Affairs. And in it, they talk about the number 1 reason why affairs happen. And it's because of a lack of mystery. When there's no mystery, there's no more desire. There's no more fantasy. Things get a little dull. And yet we try so hard to control our lives. We try so hard to control our relationships and know where we're going on the date and know when we're getting married and know when we're having our kids and know when we're getting the white picket fence. And yet that takes all the fun out of it. And so my invitation to you is to bring back in some mystery, to create some space for the unknown and to surrender to the unknown. I'm going to tell you how in a little bit. Don't worry. Third ingredient is autonomy. Autonomy. Because we have been sold a lie. We've been sold this lie that all we have to do is find our better half. Because we're obviously not whole without someone else. And that's just sad. Because I feel whole. I know my husband is a whole soul. And on no offense, I don't want to be with somebody who's not whole. And I hope no one would accept me in that place where I don't feel like I'm even close to worthy of half. So I've done a lot of work to say, the healthiest relationships come when you have a healthy relationship with yourself first, as your priority. And the really cool thing about that is, when you have a healthy relationship with yourself, it can create some really sexy polarity, that magnetism to be together. And we've gotten to explore this over many different ways. Number 1, we each have our own solo date each week. I date myself. He dates himself. He goes out and does whatever the heck he wants on his date, treats himself, gets a massage, journals all night, self-pleasures, whatever it is that's his thing, that's his date. And I have my own things too. The other thing that we do that people find really weird, not everybody, but we're weird. We decide to have our own rooms. We are a family with kids, and we have our own bedrooms. It's amazing. Yes. And it's not that we don't sleep together. We sleep together a lot. But I have my area, which is, for anybody who knows me, like my role model in life is MacGyver. I want functional, efficient, smelling good things. And my husband is not like that. My husband is, I want beautiful and organized, and yeah, it's just a different way of being. So I really like for example, beds. If you walk into my husband's room, bed is perfectly made. It's amazing. You walk into my room, it's like a giant pillow fortress that I can just dive into, and it's like the perfect fitting for me at any point in time, and I will not let anyone touch it unless I'm on a date, in which case I know how to push the pillows apart just enough so we can have a really wonderful time. But this ability to have our own spaces also allows us to invite each other into our lives very intentionally and say, hey, you want to come over tonight? And it leads to some really, really beautiful moments that might not have happened otherwise if we're in the same routine over and over and over again of we go into the same bed. So, one idea for you. Next ingredient, playfulness. Playfulness. If you have forgotten how to play, because I get this question a lot. They're like, I just don't know how. I'm really good at my corporate gig. I'm really good at being disciplined. I've forgotten how to play. Okay, let's think about a time you did know how to play. What did you love to do as a child? Did you like to read books? Did you like to draw with finger paint? Did you like to cook in the kitchen? What was it? Any of those things? Fair game. Invite your partner or partners to go with you and do this. What about when you were in high school? Did you drive out and lay on top of your car and look at the stars? Do you go to the library and just read for hours? What was it that really lit you up? Invite your partner to experience that with you. College? What was it? Did you smoke? Did you drink? Did you booty dance? What was your thing? A couple months ago, so my husband and I are both dancers, and we've grown up dancing for decades and performing all over the world, and yet we have never danced together because he's an ecstatic dancer in Bollywood, and I'm partner dancing, and like I want the structure and salsa and kizomba, and finally I was like, I know, babe, do you want to go to Seminyak and hit the Shishi Lounge? It's a nightclub. We should go. We got all dressed up. We went out. I had this cute little white dress that I bought with him, and I don't usually wear short things. This is a big deal tonight, guys. Thank you. We hit that dance floor, and it was like I discovered a new man, and he discovered a new woman. We tore that floor up, and we found our common ground in hip hop. It was incredible. It was incredible. It was hot. And it was hot. I'll just put it that way. And the grand finale, he decided he wanted to lift me up. So he lifted me up, and thank God it was just the DJ booth behind me, but the whole dress came up. And I look back, and the DJs are just cracking up and giving us like, yeah. Like, yes, I have 2 kids. I'm a mom. I can still rock it. It's great. Playfulness. Next ingredient, growth. A dedication to personal growth and growth as a unit, whatever that unit is. So we work with coaches all the time. Yes, coaches have coaches. I cannot tell you how much of my income goes towards me learning more and growing more and discovering the depth of my own shit. And our shit, our mutual shit. Because relationships are oftentimes like mirrors, and we get to learn about ourselves through this lens. But you have to be dedicated in learning together. So not just coaches, but we also take a lot of classes together. Anybody here ever hear of Betty Martin? Betty Martin and the Wheel of Consent. If you have not, you should check this out. It's really powerful stuff. She's got an amazing game called the 3-Minute Game. Write that down, 3-Minute Game. And it is my favorite icebreaker. If you're like, how do I get into intimacy? This is a really great way to do that. If you're like, I want to be intimate with my partner tonight, but it's always a little awkward to get started, 3-Minute Game solves it every time. One of the questions in the 3-Minute Game is, what would you like to do to me for 3 minutes? And so one night, Jamin and I were laying in bed, and we decided we'd start with a 3-minute game. And I asked Jamin, I said, what would you like me to do to you for 3 minutes? And he said, I want you to be me. like, what? And he's like, I want to know what it's like to experience me as your lover. So, no joke. I'm like, okay, lay right here and do not move any muscles. It's like, okay. So I leave the room, I shut the door, I take a deep breath because I'm like, oh my God, here we go. I throw open the door and I take a running leap onto the bed and fall right on top of him, like just managed to like go over him, and I just start licking his face. All over. And he just starts dying laughing because this is literally what it feels like to be making love with my husband sometimes. And he's like crying and I'm licking and we're just laughing so hard. It was so weird and yet it was so intimate and it's one of our favorite nights and it led to some of the best sex because we were like, what? This is great. This is great. We get to be playful and ridiculous and at the same time, we learned it through using a tool. A tool that we wouldn't have learned if we hadn't been invested in growing together and trying out the homework and trying out the practices. There's really so much power in growing together. The next ingredient is gratitude. Gratitude is the most scientifically proven tool to combat resentment. It is such a powerful tool for forgiveness and healing and connection. And so if you do not have a gratitude practice, I'm going to encourage you to have one for yourself, for your family, for your partner or partners. And it could be anything. Any point in time, if you freeze this moment right now, you are living either in pattern or practice. Pattern is the things we keep habitually doing. We just keep doing them because that's what we learned. And somehow we think this is still serving us, even if we keep falling on our faces. Practice is having the awareness that we keep doing this over and over again, and we choose to change. We choose to step into a practice. So if you notice that you're constantly pissed off at your own life, at people around you, at your partner, I invite you to just pause right now and center and just think, what am I grateful for in this moment? What can I be grateful for right now? And if you're really bold, you'll share that with the person who you're directing that anger towards, that resentment towards, that wall that's going up. And if they're really bold, they'll allow themselves to receive it. That's sometimes even harder, to open your heart and really receive whatever that gratitude was. So you can choose pattern and practice. Which one? The final ingredient that I want to share is all around celebration. We live in a society, if you've never read a book called The Big Leap, it's one of my favorite books. It's amazing. Read The Big Leap. It talks a lot about how we as a culture have this problem, he calls the upper limit problem, where we just can't be happy. We don't know how to be happy. We practice striving all the time. I'll be happy when I graduate. I'll be happy when I get that job. I'll be happy when I get a partner. I'll be happy when we get married. I'll be happy when we get kids. It goes on and on and on. And even when those moments come, we can only hold them for so long because we don't practice feeling happy. And we don't practice having gratitude. We don't practice being content. So my invitation to you is to say, how can I be celebrating what I have right now? And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. We have a weekly date. And we celebrate the date that's coming. So I know that on Friday night we're going to go out, and I start talking about our date and how excited I am to be together. When? Usually on like Saturday after the last date, or on Sunday. But we start waiting. I start celebrating already. I'm getting excited. I allow myself to give myself a little bit of foreplay. I get to be with my partner. They get to be with me. How cool is that? We also celebrate our love a lot. A lot. Even on our date, we talk about what's going really well. What are we rocking at? What do we want to shift and try something new? Because we get to be agile. We get to create the life and the love that we want. And the other thing that people find really interesting about our lives oftentimes is that we love to get married. We love to get married. We get married every calendar year, not on the same day. So we have now had 5 weddings, and it's been so good. So good. And some of you have been at least one of our weddings. So what is it that wants to be your story? If you let go of all the other stories about how a relationship is supposed to be, what would you create? What would be yours? I'm giving you all permission to just do that. You have a blank canvas. Let go of all the other stuff people have told you. Make this yours. And if you don't know how to make it yours, let me know. I'm really good at helping you brainstorm ideas. All right, so now you've got the 7 ingredients. Again, curiosity, mystery, autonomy, playfulness, growth, gratitude, and celebration. Now, how do we make this beautiful recipe? It's a simple step. It's called a nice date. So science has found that if you take a brain scan of what's going on here, when you are doing something nice, new, interesting, challenging, and exciting, that it stimulates the same part of your brain as when you were first falling in love. Pretty cool. So if you want to be falling in love again, all you have to do is have a nice date together. It has to be new, interesting, challenging, and exciting for both of you. Or all of you. So how are we going to make that happen? Well, I'm going to give you a couple of guidelines, and then I'm going to make this really easy for you. First guideline is have it be regular. If you can, once a week. Second rule, if you can, rotate roles. So each of you gets a turn to be what I call the date night driver, the person in charge, the lead in this dance, or the co-pilot. This is the follow in this dance. And getting to swap roles takes a lot of the pressure off. And it doesn't mean you have to do it to please them. You can do it to please yourself. You make it your own date. Or you can do it to surprise them and delight them. Whatever is your thing, that's great. Also, a date does not mean you're going to do Netflix and sleep, okay? You got to get rid of whatever your routine date is. It has to be new, interesting, challenging, and exciting. And it does not mean that you need to go get married every week, okay? You can. That'd be cool. Let me know how that goes. But it does mean it has to be focused quality time. And so if you're a busy parent, like we are, we've found that we can have really focused quality dates in 30 minutes from home, if we're really intentional. So throw out that idea that you guys have to get dressed up and you have to do something crazy. You don't have to. As long as you are mixing these different elements and making sure it's new, interesting, challenging, and exciting, which might be something as simple as playing a 3-minute game together. All right. So with that, everyone, I would like to give you an invitation. I'm going to be passing out. I'm not going to. I'm going to have someone else pass these out. These beautiful, amazing goodie bags that everybody gets tonight. They'll be passed out in just a few minutes after I'm done. Inside, you're going to notice there are 2 envelopes. These 2 envelopes are 2 different dates that I have curated for you. And you're invited to choose a date night. If you have a beloved or you want to invite your local barista on an exciting evening. I don't know. There are 2 different dates in there. You choose one envelope. You're going to open it up, and inside you will see that one is labeled Date Night Driver, and one is labeled Co-Pilot. Choose who's going to be which one. Do not read each other's. Got this? Do not read each other's, because mystery was one of those key ingredients. I'm like your dating dominatrix for the next couple dates, okay? And so I want you to just follow my instructions. If you have any questions or you get stuck, reach out to me. Eri@erikardos.com. or my private Facebook group. All that's on there, don't worry. But I really want you to succeed. I want you to succeed in terms of, I want you to try something new. Have a little bit of fun. This is how we're training the muscles for a long-term, healthy, happy, juicy love. So I'm going to pass these out. The other thing that I would really, 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 really love is for you to report back. I don't know if any of you are kinky out there, but I just want to share that when doing a really great power dynamic scene where somebody's in the charge and somebody else is choosing to surrender, it is a really powerful moment after the whole thing is done and you get to just be with yourself and reflect back on what worked and what didn't and be with that moment and then share the story. So I'd like you to share the experience with your beloved, with your beloveds, and then also tell your dom. Come back and tell me how it went. I want to know. I really want to know. I want to know what was hard or what was juicy or what was powerful, what was transformational. All right, so with all of that, I am going to pass out these things in just a second, and I hope you have a great time on your dates, and I'm here if you need any support. I also just want to say thank you. Thank you for this amazing opportunity, Ms. Lila, and all the amazing people who made tonight happen. And just let folks know that if you are in a place where you would like some sort of support, whether the relationship with yourself and how you can get rid of old patterns before you're in partnership again, whether you're in relationship with someone else and you just want to go deeper and be more juicy, if you are exploring opening up and you want to know more about how to explore ethical non-monogamy without lots of explosions all the time that hurt people, there'll still be explosions, but you can reduce the shrapnel. Or you're in a relationship and you're ready to transition, what I call a relation shift. You don't want to be in this current setup anymore, but you're ready for something healthy, some sort of conscious uncoupling. Please let me know. I'm here to cheer you on and support you and help guide if I can. I'm sending you guys so much love. Thank you for being here tonight. Have an amazing date. Thank you, thank you, thank you.